Here's a really great hike to Telegraph Peak in the San Bernardino National Forest, a little bit east of Mount Baldy. The hike begins at Baldy Notch, the same starting point for our hike to Mount Baldy last year. We get to our starting point at Baldy Notch by taking the ski lift up from San Antonio Canyon, and in this case with a rather chilly ride up the chairlift. This time, instead of going to Mount Baldy, we're going in the opposite direction, first to Thunder Mountain on our way to Telegraph Peak. The first part of our trip to Thunder Mountain is along this 1.4 mile service road, which wends its way to the top. Here at one point we can look back down to see Baldy Notch, where we started. We can also look over and see the top of 10,000 foot high Mount Baldy in the distance. And of course a farther look out towards the San Gabriel Valley down below. And this being a winter skiing area, there are runs such as Herb's Hollow. That's Mount Baldy in the background. And then there's also Andy's Alley. And then we approach Thunder Mountain with another ski run down its side. And at the top of Thunder Mountain is the ending of the ski lift, this particular one not running in the summertime. Another view from Thunder Mountain at an elevation of about 8,600 feet. Just beyond Thunder Mountain we join the 3 T's Trail, because it goes to Thunder Mountain, Telegraph Peak, and Timber Mountain. On this trip, however, we're only going to go as far as Telegraph Peak. We're also going to be traveling through the Cucamonga Wilderness area. So off we go on the 3 T's Trail, which actually goes down for 500 feet in elevation to reach a saddle before starting up Telegraph Peak on the round trip. Actually, it's a very excellent trail on almost all of its route. This high country is really very beautiful to look at. So we just take our time to drink it in. Don't know just what the rock column is there for, but someone knows why they did it. Then the trail wends its way down to a saddle between Thunder Mountain and Telegraph Peak. Then we reach the saddle between the two mountains. Now if you look carefully at this picture, you'll be able to see Dale working his way down to there. He is. Okay. It was a very, very windy spot, however. And from here we'll begin an 800-foot elevation gain to get to the top of Telegraph Peak. And here Jack reaches the saddle also. He even took his hat off because of the wind. The trail wends its way up along the side of the mountain. And of course, some more fantastic views. Then we find this sign which tells us we're almost to the top. That last quarter mile, however, to get up there is about the steepest of the entire trip. But at almost 9,000 foot elevation, we took our time to get on up there. And here Dale makes his way on up. And here we are at the top, with the beautiful desert spread out in the distance beyond. So we've got to take a minute to drink it all in. Enough said. We find wedged between two rocks here at the top a steel box that had a tablet and some pens inside. So Dale signs us in to show that we were really there. If you'd like to see what he wrote, you're invited to climb on up to the top of Telegraph Peak. We also met a fellow hiker up there on top, a young lady who had hiked up from Ice House Canyon to get here, a lot farther than the way we came. We took the opportunity to ask her to take our picture together. So here's a picture of the two intrepid hikers atop Telegraph Peak at about a 9,000-foot elevation. And here's a look over at good old Mount Baldy, about 1,000 foot higher than we are here. Then one last look around before starting on back down the trail. No, I'm not getting a ticket. We were met by a forest ranger when we reached Thunder Mountain. He was taking a survey of hikers, asking a bunch of questions about the trail, the area, where we were from, and so forth. But then it was back down to Baldy Notch and another trip down the ski lift to where the car was parked. After a 6-mile hike round trip with about a 2,100 foot total elevation gain. On the round trip,